Hello. Hi guys, Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام.
Nice to meet all of you. I'm not sure, can you actually see me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Perfect. All right. Perfect. I'm admitting some more people, but let's see if I can actually do so. Okay, perfect. I can actually see some of you, but guys, before we start, can we kindly mute our microphones, please, because there is background noise.
I think the most can mute all.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is way better because of background music. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining this session, which is going to last for 40 minutes. As I said earlier, I'd like to first introduce myself. So my name is Muhammad Abu Laila, and I'm an English instructor at University of Science and Technology in ZC. And today I want to present to you the idea of a specific tool. It's a communicative tool that you can, I hope you can see me. I can notice your comments in the chat. So please, if you have any questions, either like write them down in the chat box or keep them, take notes of all your questions. And so we're gonna have the last 10 minutes of this session is going to be dedicated for a Q&A at the very end. Alrighty. So I'm not sure why you can't see me, but hang on a minute. I guess you guys should see me now, right? Is it better? All right. Anyways, so shall we begin? All right. So what we're gonna focus on right now is the presentation consists of 3 parts. And what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to share the screen with you so that, I guess, here we go. And that's our presentation. It's ready. All right. Okay, so perfect. I guess you can see the screen now. So this is my email in case if you'd like to get the slides anytime. But I want to begin by talking about the 3 main objectives of this presentation or this session. Basically, we're going to talk about the idea of action research and why is it valuable, what's the importance of action research, and why is it important to share excellent classroom practices. And this is very, very important. So can I do? All right. I guess we have more people joining us. And then that's it. All righty. So let's begin by talking about why. Why is action research valuable? So first of all, what do I mean by action research? As a practitioner, as an English teacher, as a TESOL teacher, an ESL teacher, or an EFL teacher, depending on the context where you're teaching, you might be doing action research without noticing. And the thing is, action research is like when you record it, when you put it on paper and publish it or not publish it, this is what we call action research. So if you notice this cycle, first of all, you reflect on your teaching practices. And then you decide, I think there's something wrong, for example, or I can do more with my classroom management. So you plan a specific, rationale, for example, and then you act upon this rationale. You observe the changes in your classroom, and then you reflect on these changes, and then you move on. You plan something else, and it goes this way. So you notice, as I'm gonna say again, the idea is it's circular. You move from one idea into another. So more reflection, more planning, more observation, and then keep in this cycle, this great cycle. Okay. All right. So that's the idea. But the focus here, as I said, is when you think about action research, this is more of the idea of a researcher and a practitioner coming together. So since you are in the classroom, you have the sense, the atmosphere to conduct research, because as you can notice, you get evidence, you get evidence from the class itself. If you are trying a new method of teaching, coming, for example, from outside the country, right? So you will see if it's working with your students or not, and then you can modify this idea and then write about it. So for example, I tried to play with collaborative learning techniques. Some of the techniques and the collaborative learning structures worked with my students. Some others did not work. And so I wrote a paper on this, and that was published in a specific journal, as I'm going to tell you. And some of the journals are likely to accept your action research. Again, the idea of sustainability is very important, because you continue doing research as long as you are teaching in the classroom. So this is very, very important. One thing I'd like to focus on is the idea of environment. So again, it depends on the context where you are teaching. Maybe, the best methods that we import from outside, when we try to integrate them in our classes, they might not be working very well. So it's our job why they are working fine, why they are not working. And just publishing this, congratulations, you have conducted action research. But I want to dig deeper about the idea of action research. And I want all of you guys to think about, well, right now, I am writing my PhD dissertation, and I wanted to do some research in a specific corpus, the COCA, or the corpus of contemporary American English. And basically, a corpus is a body of language. So as an English teacher, I wanted to check what adjectives I can use with the term action research. So if we try to guess it, we don't have time. Usually what I do in the class is, like, I ask my students, what are the 10 most common words? I decide the part of speech, like adjectives, verbs, adverbs, nouns, that collocate with a specific term. And so they Google it and find the 10 most common. So this is what we are gonna do. We're gonna go to English Corpora here. And as you can see, this is the corpus. It's very simple. So basically, I hope you can see the screen now. What I'm gonna do is, can you notice collocates? So basically, collocation is the idea that some words are likely to come up together. Meaning, for example, you don't say like do tea, you say make tea, right? And what I'm gonna write here is action research, right? I'm gonna define the part of speech, insert part of speech, so it's gonna be noun. And then I'm looking for what type of collocates. I am looking for adjectives, right? And it's just one adjective before the term. Okay, can you guess, can you try to write down in the chat, let's find the chat, can you think of the most common adjective that shows up with action research? Any ideas? Any suggestions? All right. What is the most common adjective with action research? This is a corpus of more than 100 million words in this corpus. All right. Detailed, thank you for the suggestion, Mr. Atif. Any other ideas? Meticulous, cooperation, collaboration. So adjective would be cooperative, collaborative. Very good. Okay, let's find out. Let's find collocates. So as you can see here, this is the frequency, and the word participatory relating to participation is the most common adjective that collocates with action research. And as you can see, they are arranged in order of frequency from the highest, the most frequent adjective to the least frequent one, right? So this is in context. If you look at the chart here, as you can see, the second most common word is collaborative. Somebody mentioned that, so good job. And then educational, then many, then local, three-dimensional, collective, etc. Usually, I'll specify that to my students, like find the 10 most common adjectives that collocate with a specific term. All right, let's go back. What do you think the most common verb? So I'm gonna specify the part of speech here, and it's verb, right? And then find collocates. Alrighty, I think I'm trying to follow up with your chat. Conduct. Oh, good job. So it's actually use, right? This is the most common one. Then conduct. So as you can see, you have a variety of the verb conduct, right? Conducting, conducted, conduct, again, maybe doing, undertook. So if you actually click on it, you will find more context. Now, if you click on this, this is the journal. And as you can see, mostly comes from the academic division of the academic subcorpus. So you can use action research to add to the literature describing student perceptions. So it will give you a paragraph of it. It's very useful. So I want you to play with it and see how it works for you. And again, these are the most common adjectives and verbs that collocate with the word action research. But again, I want to dig deeper into action research. So again, sorry. So here we go. And as you can see here, when you think about action research, as we said, and these are more of the features of action research, we think about it as in terms of context driven. Again, the context where you're teaching is different from the context where I'm teaching, is different from the context of somebody else. So the context will define action research. Your action research is always driven or guided by the context where you are teaching. So this is very, very important. Again, action research is practical because it comes from practice. You are trying to record your excellent practices in the classroom. If there is a specific idea, you would like to share it with other practitioners, right? And again, it's ecological. It's about the environment where you're teaching. It's transformative in terms of it's changing the way we teach and the way our students learn, right? Do we want to focus on more teacher-centered classrooms or more like student-centered classroom? This is very important. As a teacher, do I try to encourage the active participation of my students, or I just accept their, kind of negligence, passivity? What kind of, what do I think my role is? What do I think the students' roles are? So this is very, very important. Again, it can be collaborative. When we were checking the collocates, the adjectives that collocate with action research, collaborative was the second most common word, right? So it's not about you only. You can, work with a colleague and, and write a research paper. And again, as we mentioned earlier, it's cyclical. You move from one phase into another phase and then you repeat it. So for example, you start to reflect and then you plan and then you observe and then you reflect, and it goes this way in a cycle. So this is very, very important. Again, these are the features. But I also want to dig deeper into this idea, okay, about action research. So as you can see, we have, as we said, cyclical, so we have different cycles here. And when you think about it, you start by thinking about a new assessment, and you create a rubric for that to measure, of course, and gauge the performance, and have performance descriptors, etc. In the first cycle, you plan. Maybe you set your goals, you edit the checklist, etc. And then also in cycle one, it includes action and observation. So observation of what? Of activities, focus groups. Maybe you are going to implement a survey, right? And as you can see, also in cycle one, you reflect on those activities, on those actions that you have taken. So this is very, very important. Okay. Alrighty. And then you move on to the second cycle. So in the second cycle, the idea of observation is very, very important. As you can see, we have repetition here. We have this wonderful cycle going on. So you observe survey carried out with a new class. You have reflection. So this could be teacher's reflection or students' reflection. And then in the third cycle, you plan. You create a new activity, as you can see. All right. And then you do action and you observe. All righty. I guess we'll bring this down. Yes. So in the third cycle, you have the activity and focus group implemented. I'm going to talk about focus group. So focus group, if, for example, you are conducting research with maybe 300 students, so you pick focus group depending on different levels, for example, to conduct an interview with them, for example, or to have an interview or to conduct a survey. And then also in cycle 3, you do the reflection. In cycle 4, it's the process of planning, where you create new materials. And then in cycle 4, you notice the repetition here. you have the action and observation. So you implement the activity, you conduct interviews, and then finally in cycle 4, you have the reflection. But again, the process is continuous reflection and improvement. So you improve one thing at a time, right? So if it's a strategy for classroom management, for example, and you think about like, maybe I ignored the role of my students in this strategy. So let's give them some leadership roles and see how they're going to do it. And so I reflect on the process. Maybe then I will interview them. I will interview only the leaders, right? The people I picked for leadership roles. And then this is going to be a focus group. Then when you tell yourself, like, what are the instruments that I can use in action research? So, according to a recent survey in the literature review, and as you can see, this is very up-to-date list. These are the most common instruments used by researchers / practitioners. When you think about it, the most common one was reflective journals. Alrighty. Okay, I can click admit all. Sorry, guys. So reflective journals, it's like, as I said, diaries kept by teachers and learners. Now, some people might use like blogs, for example, or digital journals, right? I remember one time I created a blog for my students, section for the teachers and another section for learners, and then they would write down their thoughts on a specific lesson. So again, under reflective journals, maybe you can take notes. Maybe you can record the class and then take notes of what's happening. Maybe you can observe the class. Maybe you can have your colleague observing you while teaching. Another instrument was visuals. Like, as we said, you can record the video, you can have photographs of the lesson. Maybe visuals learners' work. And this will be in terms of learning artifacts. Maybe, as we said, you can take copies of their assignments, exams, portfolios, videos of them while doing the activity, maybe in class activity, completion of it, maybe while they are answering a task, right? So these are the learning artifacts. And as you can see, it's about documentation. Documentation is very, very important in action research. Now, most importantly, teaching artifacts. What about your syllabus? What about the course books? If you created a program, any teacher made materials. So you can take notes of these and keep them. Maybe, as we said, you can interview focus groups. Maybe you can interview specific individuals or one individual, maybe group interview, maybe have discussions in class or out of class, right? So this is very, very common. Another thing is, sorry. Another thing is like survey or questionnaires, excuse me. So this could be paper-based, this could be an online survey relating to the topic or the lesson or overall module or program, and you can send it online and students would complete it. So this would be some of the most common instruments used in action research. So again, to recap on this point, this is like why action research is important, is significant to learners and practitioners. So it's about sharing thoughts. What works fine, what doesn't work in a specific environment, again, depending on the context. The second objective is, where can I publish this? And I don't want to talk a lot about this idea, but again, very, very important question when you do research is to think about the venue where you are going to publish it. So again, I have two links to share with you about this. And the first link is a list of ESL, EFL, and linguistic journals. And again, these are active links. Once you click on them, they're going to take you to that journal. So you can think about this venue itself. All right. One good journal I'd like to recommend is by the TESOL Association. So I'm searching it here. Yeah, TESOL International. And as you can see here, this is a very good place for teachers. So if you look at the journals, they have two important journals. The first journal is the TESOL Quarterly. And this is a professional journal, right? So this is the one I was thinking about. This one is about to share your research findings and explore ideas and relationships in the fields. The other one is TESOL Journal, right? It's, again, this is the one I always publish in. It's a refereed, practitioner-oriented electronic journal. Again, based on current theory and research in the field of TESOL. And this is about practice. So as you can see, it's about research and theory-based practices, as well as practice-oriented theorizing and research, right? So it's about flipping the two terms. And this is a very good journal where you can, a very good venue to publish action research. All right. A very good article to tackle how to choose the right international journal in TESOL and applied linguistics. This is a guide for novice writers. If you plan to publish, you can download the whole journal article. And then it will give you a lot of classification here, telling you about types of journals, about the acceptance rate of journals. This is very, very important. So as you can see, the Journal of Applied Linguistics. This is a very prestigious journal and phenomenal. But if you look at the estimated acceptance rate, this is like 15 to 20. And this is like, oh my God, you're competing with all other practitioners and researchers in the field. So maybe at the beginning, you are less likely, to be accepted there. But again, when I think about this International Journal of Intercultural Relations, or a journal like this one, Development. So basically, I'd pick a journal with a higher acceptance rate. All right. The third objective is what? What is the tool I was talking about? So basically, the tool is called Academic Writer. And as you know, in our documentation style or citation style is APA. So when it comes to the idea of presentation, you don't want to spend time worrying about your language, worrying about your references. So this tool is very, very good. When you think about it, this is more of a digital environment for teaching, learning, and writing academic papers. And as you can see, we have three sections in this Academic Writer. So the first section is learn, to learn how to refine your research, how to start your research, how to learn academic writing. And the second one is reference, how to assist you building and managing your reference library, of course, using APA style. And the third one is using the Writing Center to write according to APA style, using a template, collaborating with peers and reviewers, and check your work. So let's go there. Here we go. And as you can see, this is the academic journal. You can click for free educator trial. So here, as you can see, it tells you about the academic writer itself. And so I'm going to click here. I guess one of my students created an account. So academic writer, log in. I feel like we are running out of time. But anyway, this is the account of one of my students. And don't worry, guys, she shared it with me. So as you can see, Learn, this is like where you get lessons about quick guides, you know, tutorials, sample papers, sample references, sample tables, according to the most updated APA style manual. And that is the 7th edition, published 2020. So my main interest here is click on write. This is what I'm interested in. And then when you start a new paper, you can click write a new paper. So again, it's going to give you options of papers. So as you can see here, you can create an empirical paper where you have conducted an experiment. Maybe a theoretical paper. You want to provide more insights into a specific term, like collaborative learning, and maybe collaborative learning online, maybe collaborative learning in a blended learning environment, maybe collaborative learning in the times of Corona, for example, COVID-19. Or maybe you want to write a meta-analysis paper where you're going to analyze actual research papers. Multi-experiment paper where you conduct some experiments. A case study paper, maybe you are following one child, for example, or one learner or a group of learners. Maybe a reaction paper, right? A personal opinion or critique of a source. Maybe a basic paper, right? And basic paper is like, it's a blank template. A methodological paper, literature review paper. So I'm interested here in an empirical paper, and it will tell me, is it a student assignment or it's a professional manuscript? A professional manuscript. So if some of you are in colleges, I haven't asked, but you can write a student paper that's following APA style. And then you just click on submit. So again, it will tell you to write down a title. What is the title? And you can begin with, for example, a title like a new tool for action research publication. Alrighty, and then you can click on start writing. And again, as you can see, it will give you the template itself. It will ask you if you want any help. So this is like you edit the subsections. And as you can see, if you want to add a new section, if you want to have an appendix, a table, figures, again, tables will be following. You can click on add a new table, create a table, and so it will tell you to write down the title table, and it will produce it as it should look like in an APA style paper. So you maybe you want to add citation to the table body. So again, this is a very well organized, meticulous way of writing a fully fledged research paper, including the references following APA style. If you'd like to add a new reference, it will tell you if you want to search for a reference. So let's try this, because you don't have to worry at all about referencing. If we pick any reference, like let's say, let's go to Google Scholar, and I'm interested in a paper on collaborative learning, for example, right? And so I can customize the range. I'm interested in the most up-to-date papers. So as you can see, here is the paper itself. And this is from Science Direct. And I can go back here. Where is it? Alrighty. Yes. I can search for this reference, click search. Right. Maybe I just need to add the title itself. And then here we go. And I'm going to click for this and search. All right. Let's try this one. Maybe more advanced research. So it's going to ask me for the author name, for the title. I can provide the title. Maybe there is a DOI, which is a digital object identifier, you guys. This is more permanent than the URL. And where is it? Here we go. And then I can provide it. And then I'm going to ask it to search for me. Alrighty. First author. So maybe I can try the first author. So obviously that's the first author. All right. Maybe I'll get something. So basically, I don't know why it's not working. But anyway, because it's searching only in references. Got it. So basically, there is a previous step, which is add references. So you need to add the references here. And then it will ask you what type of reference you want to get started with. So basically, these are the references. I'm telling him it's a journal article. It will ask me to provide all this information, right? And again, once I provide all this information, it will be added to my references. You see, so I'm going to click no. And then when I go to write, as you can see, work on a saved paper. My paper is already saved here. Once I try to add a reference, it will ask me, so as you can see, add a new reference. It will try to find the reference itself already formatted according to APA